What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I want to talk about promo cards and why I believe there's a different way that the team should at least consider approaching how they do promo cards from here on out moving forward. Now, in my opinion, actually, let me just set the context for this. Like, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, there was a super popular company called Supreme that would launch merch every Thursday. And everybody would always just try to get it as quickly as possible because there was a limited amount. And, it was one of a kind, or not one of a kind, but, very, very like scarce quantities. And people would just go and flip it, right? Just for the either having it as a flex or flipping it. Now, I was not really part of this, although, my younger cousin was really into it. So that's why I had like this tangential knowledge of what was going on. But I understood what they were trying to do. They had a very strong brand. They had a very loyal fan base and customer base. And they knew how to drive hype through scarcity, right? Hype and Fomo through scarcity. So I think that we should try to do something like that with these promo cards. Now, here's the thing. Check this out. So I'm just going to take a look quickly here at where we're at with the, oh gosh, where did it go? Baron Fiat. Okay, so this is the promo card that is currently, well, I guess it's still in print because they're going to print several more after the promo is done. But you can see here that 6,258 legendary promo cards have been printed. Okay, now, of course, they did this with a bunch of incentives. There was a leaderboard, there were prizes, there were points, all these different things for people to get involved, which, again, it's cool. I think that, that's totally fine. Here's what I'm looking at. You printed 6,200, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the calculator over here, so I have something. So, 62 something, right? 6,250, we'll just say, divided by 11 means that you have 568 maxed copies. I don't know that we have that many people. I don't know that we have the demand for that. Now, let me show you something here real quick before we go any further. So I've been playing in Diamond, in Wild, and I'm playing in Gold right now. And granted, I know it's still the beginning of the season, so maybe some folks haven't jumped in yet. They haven't been given a rating. But, considering where I ended last season in Gold, I was at 624th, right? So there's about 500 players ahead of me, or, 500 to 600 players ahead of me. I think that we should drive scarcity by going really, really narrow. And this is something that the team can adjust every month as needed. But let's say, just for argument's sake, what if the team were to create a promo card? And I'm going to be all over the place with this, but I'm going to try and lay it out as organized as possible. Here's my idea. What if the team were to create a promo card every single month? Okay. And in doing so, they create a new promo card, they generate consistent revenue, but they always create less, right? They always create less than whatever the player base could demand. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how much the team needs in terms of revenue and all that, so I'm going to base this on the number that they were trying to get from the, let's see, let me clear this. The number that they were trying to get from the DAO when they put forth the proposal, which was about $200,000, right? They wanted to get $200,000 to cover the cost of the promo. But if they want to do quarterly promos, then that's $200,000 that will go over the course of 3 months. So you divide that by 3, we get roughly $66,000, $67,000 per month in revenue that they were trying to generate. And they were doing that with 2 cards, right? So I'm saying you could actually do this with 3 cards over the course. So yes, I know there'd be a little bit more work. You need to create 1 extra card, but hear me out. If we were to do it in this way, and I'm going to be a little bit more generous here on the numbers. Let's say you create 250 maxed copies of a card. Now that is real scarcity, right? So 250 times 11, let's just say this is a legendary card, right? So that's 2750. That is significantly less than a lot of the other legendary promo cards here. In fact, I think that would be the lowest outside of maybe Mantaroth. No, yeah, it'd be lower than Mantaroth. It'd be lower than Lord of Fire, right? I mean, it would be the lowest that we've seen. Even Red Dragon coming in at 2,900, outside of like all this stuff from super early on, right? Archmage Arius and all that. So 2,700 copies is not a lot. And in fact, I think that would drive scarcity quite well. These cards would hold their value. I mean, that would be the hope, right? They would hold their value because the only people that would get them were the people that really, really want them. Or, and this is where it gets interesting, you could create extra value by just having this hype session where you actually burn vouchers, right? But that's a little bit of an extra thing. So let's jump to this now. You get 2,750 copies. Now, what you're trying to do is generate the amount of revenue needed per month, right? Which would be about let's say $67,000. So 67,000, because assume this is all going to the team. It's got to be paid in DEC, right? So 67,000 divided by the 2,750, right? So it's coming out to about $24 a pop on the legendary cards, which for a promo card that is as scarce as that is going to be, that's not a bad price. I mean, Dr. Blight's super cheap now, but you get what I'm saying, right? Think about Mantaroth trading at $40. Like this is significantly cheaper at this point in time, and it's significantly scarcer, right? Like there's half of the amount of Mantaroths that'd be going on, and you'd be able to get these at $24 a pop. So the team, and again, I would hope that the team would look at this and say, well, we're not trying to chase revenue. We're trying to get whatever, the minimum viable amount is for us to make this happen. And here's where the beauty comes in. Because now you're going to charge DEC for this, right? And sure, the team is going to get the DEC. But the other token that you could help would be vouchers. And what you could do is say, well, if you want to get these, right, it's going to be 20, however much the DEC rolls out to be. It's going to be that much DEC plus, let's say, I don't know, 100 vouchers to secure your spot, right? Which is like $3, right? But I haven't done the math on vouchers, but like 2,750 times 100. I mean, that's 275,000 vouchers. Again, we print like 1.2 million a month, right? So this would eat into a significant amount per month if people wanted to. And maybe you even do something higher than that, right? Maybe in order to secure your spot, if you wanted to secure your spot, you could burn, and they could even make this fun, right? Where it's just like you need to burn your vouchers. Oh, actually, okay, sorry, this just came to my mind. But let's say you would wager your vouchers in order to secure your spot, right? You wanted to buy, and they would limit it where you could only buy maybe 11 BCX per account. And so therefore, with each account, what you could do is you could wager vouchers. And if they sold out, meaning that like all of everything was accounted for and there were still people who wagered vouchers but were not able to take advantage, you would get those vouchers back, right? So these vouchers would be sent to the team, and then from there, the team would burn any kind of wagered vouchers and then return anyone that was not eligible to buy this card. So all of a sudden, we're creating two little games here, right? Because now people would take vouchers and they'll use them to get in line for this type of promo. And then doing that, right? Because let's say you just want to flip it. Let's say you could buy this card for $24 in DEC, and let's say you wager 100 vouchers. That's $27, and you know that it's going to be more. If it's a decent card like Mantaroth, it's going to be around or more than $40, right? Like this is what I'm trying to get at. You're driving artificial scarcity, which in this manner, like artificial scarcity would be a good thing. On top of that, we'd have more promo cards, right? And this would go back to Aggie's vision of like nobody's deck would look the same. So it's not like everybody has the same card. Only 200 or 250 players would have a max copy of this card. And maybe it's just like, oh man, I missed the one in January. Let me get the one in February, right? Because it's just like, oh, and this card looks really good. I want to have this card. It's these types of things that I think could get the community super excited, because then it's like, I gotta have this card. What they did with the Baron Fight thing, and they turned it into a burn event and all that, and that's fine. But look at all the resources that they ended up having to give up from a marketing perspective, right? They just threw out a bunch of land, they threw out some Rooney, they threw out a bunch of packs. To me, it just doesn't make sense for them to do that. they could just be raising the minimum amount in terms of dollar value. And they can play with this, right? Maybe $67,000 a month is not enough to cover this. Although, if they were only trying to get 200,000 from the DAO, I think that there's way more that they could do with this. And they could set up the mechanism, like I said, for the voucher wagers, where it's just like, man, I'm willing to burn, like, basically it's like someone's willing to burn like 500 vouchers or 5,000 vouchers in order to make sure that they get a copy of this card. I don't know. To me, that just represents something that could be interesting. Now, here's where it could get a little dicey. Could this be dominated by whales across multiple counts? Absolutely. And to a certain extent, I'm okay with that. Now, hear me out. Yes, whales could come in and they could buy their way to the top by just wagering as many vouchers as they want. But that helps the economy overall by getting vouchers out of the freaking gutter. Right? So now all of a sudden vouchers are higher. Maybe vouchers aren't even the answer, right? Maybe you do this with like staked SPS, which again, whales game. My whole point in this is that promo cards could be approached completely differently by making it so that you look at where the player base is right now. And primarily that's how many players are playing at the highest levels in Modern. And you make half, right? You make half of the maxed amount of copies. And you do it regularly. So that people come in and they're just like, oh yeah, I want to get this card. I want to get that card, right? Now, again, is that too much per BCX? Is that going to be too much? Are people going to be spending way too much? Probably. You're going to look at it that way. But not everybody's going to get every card. And that's the idea, right? Because not everybody can get every card. And so therefore, that creates that, for the collectors out there that really want to have everything. I don't know. To me, there's little like marketing things like this that they could absolutely do on a regular basis. They're already interfacing with the community every couple of weeks. It's like, imagine every other town hall. It's like, yo, here's the next promo card, right? Like this thing's going to be, and maybe they're not all like, straight fire, but it could be something that is like awesome, utilized in some kind of way. And maybe what they do is they make, the sets or whatever a little bit smaller so that they can allow for these promo cards to come in and it's not just card inflation like crazy. But again, I'm just sharing with you very rough numbers here on how this could be done. Anybody who's familiar with how Supreme kind of operated, half a decade ago, you'll understand what I'm getting at. And by doing this, I think that what they can do is really get the hype and FOMO up to 11. And I think if they find creative ways to include vouchers and SPS, and maybe even like burning SPS or locking SPS in the DAO, right? I mean, maybe this ends up being like a DAO sponsored thing where the DAO pays the team 50 grand, 75 grand, right? Every month. And I know that's a lot, but keep in mind, if all of a sudden now we're talking about burning that amount of DEC, burning that amount of vouchers, or maybe even like, using SPS as a method of payment, right? So it's not like in order to secure your spot, you have to put in like 100 SPS, and that all goes to the DAO. So now the DAO is using this as a way to generate revenue by burning DEC and collecting SPS off the marketplace. Again, there's so many different ways that this could be done. And I'm not the smartest person to think through it here. All right, they have fantastic people on the team, and there's you guys always have amazing suggestions out there. So all I'm trying to say is, there's options with this. Maybe you don't even do it every month, but my point is you create something that's regular, that's consistent, and everybody's just like, ooh, I can't wait. I want to see what the next thing is going to be. I want to get involved. I want to make sure I'm one of the 200 people or one of the 250 people that has a copy of this. And then you get people who come in and try to flip. You get people who come in and whatever the case is, right? All these different types of whale games that happen, all these different kinds of flip games that happen. That's just my thought. You can hear how excited I am about this because I think that it could work very effectively, but I'm just sharing with you a bunch of raw ideas. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That is all I have for you in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.